In a tit-for-tat move, Pakistan has threatened to suspend the Shimla Agreement, attempting to up the ante against India as the Modi government announced a slew of diplomatic strikes against Pakistan. So does this really matter? What is the Shimla Agreement? Let's break that all down for you. The Shimla Agreement is a bilateral peace treaty signed on July 2, 1972 in Himachal Pradesh's Shimla, and hence the name. It's an agreement that was signed by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and Pakistani President Zulfikar Ali Bhutto and was right after the Indo-Pakistan War of 1971, which led to the creation of Bangladesh from what was then East Pakistan. The agreement aimed to establish peace, restore normalcy in relations, and set principles for future engagements between India and Pakistan. So let's break down for you the key provisions first of this agreement. First is the peaceful resolution of disputes. What that means is both countries agreed to resolve all outstanding issues, including Kashmir, through direct negotiations, explicitly excluding third-party involvement. Second, respect for sovereignty. Each side pledged to honor the territorial integrity and political independence of the other and not to interfere in internal affairs. The ceasefire line from the 1971 war in Jammu and Kashmir was redesignated as the line of control, with both nations agreeing not to unilaterally alter it. Third, the re-establishment of diplomatic relations. The agreement called for the normalization of diplomatic, economic and cultural ties, including the restoration of communication, travel and trade links. Also a key provision, release of prisoners of war. This was, remember, right after the 1971 war. So India agreed to release over 93,000 Pakistani prisoners of war who had been captured during the 1971 conflict. Then there's return of territory. India returned over 13,000 square kilometers of land that was seized during the 1971 war, retaining certain strategically significant areas. These were areas like Turtak and Chalunka, which is in the Chorbat Valley, which is more than 883 square kilometers. So what happened after the agreement? While the Shimla Agreement created a diplomatic roadmap, core tensions remained unresolved. Though it facilitated the restoration of ties and prisoner repatriation, it also failed to prevent future conflicts. I'm talking about the 1984 Siachen standoff, the 1999 Kargil War, and also frequent cross-border clashes as well because of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism. India continues to cite the agreement as the basis for rejecting external mediation, especially at international platforms like the United Nations. And Pakistan, as expected, has interpreted the agreement to justify raising Kashmir globally. To this day, the Shimla Agreement is considered a key reference in India-Pakistan diplomacy. It reinforces India's stance on bilateral engagement. It defines the status of the LOC, which remains central to the military and political situation in Jammu and Kashmir. However, with persistent hostilities and stalled dialogue, the long-term effectiveness of this agreement has always remained in question. Let's talk about the current state of affairs. On April 24th, Pakistan claimed to have suspended the Shimla Agreement as a reaction to India's series of diplomatic actions against Pakistan after the Pahalgam attack. So what could such a suspension of the agreement actually do? Well, first of all, the suspension may open the door for Pakistan to seek the involvement of international bodies such as the United Nations, allies like China, or organizations like the OIC, which is the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. And all of this will be used as an excuse to raise Kashmir again on a global platform. Also, the suspension could affect the mutual commitment to respecting the integrity of the LOC in Jammu and Kashmir, potentially increasing tensions in the region. But this really is something that India isn't worried about, considering there have been multiple ceasefire violations repeatedly by Pakistan even when the agreement was in place. Pakistan has also announced the closure of the Wagah border, effectively ending all cross-border traffic from India. It's also shut its airspace to Indian commercial flights. Again, mind you, this is reciprocal action because India announced the closure of the Atari border. India has also closed off its airspace for Pakistan. So what next? Although the suspension of the Shimla Agreement may not result in immediate tactical shifts, it could pave the way for heightened diplomatic and military tensions. But India has made it clear that this is a rattled Pakistan's response to the diplomatic strike by our government.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.